Right, guys, let's talk about Robert Lewandowski. Let's preview Villarreal versus Bayern Munich. But with Lewandowski, you've got a guy who's 33. He's going to be 34 in August 21st, if you want to buy him a card. And his contract is out of contract on the 30th of June, 2023. What do you do with this guy? Because he loves a goal, as we all know. He is elite. We know that as well. But as a 33-year-old, who's probably going to want to move on, and there has been sort of some murmurings from him that he'll get to the end of his contract and then make that move wherever he would want to be and get some incredible wages. What do you do if you're Bayern Munich, Hugh?
Yeah, it's a tough one if you're Bayern.
So
Munich.
tough.
It is a tough one, because what Bayern would usually do is they would say, look, we need to start a new era. We need to think about the future. And they would go out and they would get the next best goal scorer in the Bundesliga, someone who does it every single week in their division, probably from their biggest rival, Borussia Dortmund, like they did with Robert Lewandowski.
But he's going to Man City. That's Haaland, isn't it? You're talking about. He's off to Man City. So now what?
It's exactly that. They weren't really in the market for Erling Haaland because the numbers are just so huge. And so they have to cut their cloth accordingly. So do you maybe give Robert Lewandowski a 1 or 2 year extension? Does he want that? I mean, come on, he scored 12 in the last 8 for Bayern in the Champions League. Unbelievable record. Such a huge figure at the club. They need to time this perfectly right so that things don't fall apart, because they do have some other players who are getting on. They, of course, have some very good young players as well. And for them, it will all be about stability, really, and keeping at a very high level when Lewandowski leaves. They need a great replacement. And is there a standout other than Haaland that they can afford who does what he does? No, I don't think so. But if you were to sell him, I think there would be plenty of suitors. I know Barcelona, of course, have been linked. I would personally wouldn't want him to go to Barcelona at this point in time. I think he's got plenty to offer a team that is credibly going to win the Champions League in the next couple of seasons. Whether one of those clubs will get him, I don't know. But if it were to be £60 million, if you like, then Manchester United need a striker. I think he's more reliable than the ones that they've put in.
another guy 33 plus. You want another 33 plus to a striker at Man United?
Listen, I think he's got a few years left in him, Robert Lewandowski. But look, it will boil down to Bayern Munich, and it will boil down to Lewandowski. I would want to sign a big new deal if I was him, because I think his goals warrant it. But then again, if I was Bayern Munich, I wouldn't be sure committing long term, like you say, to someone his age. But like, look, if someone wants him out there, he will go, and he will continue to do great things.
So with this game against Villarreal, often you're looking at different games in the quarterfinals, the last 16. You're thinking, where's the shot going to be? And I don't think anyone called it was going to be Benfica last time, but I called Villarreal doing Juventus. And will I call it again? I'm not sure. But I do think this is going to be a harder game for Bayern Munich than you would imagine. When it comes to the weaknesses for Bayern Munich, I wonder, first of all, there's a bit of confusion in terms of the formation that they want to play. Sometimes they want to play 3 at the back. Recently, they've moved to 4 at the back. They don't really have that depth in the centre-back position. Upamecano, who I don't think they're totally sold upon. And Sörloth, of course, who's moving to Dortmund, will probably be the first choice centre-backs. But when they're in the league, there's different players that are sort of coming through that I don't think are totally ready to be the Bayern Munich that goes and dominates and wins Champions Leagues. So that is a bit of a weak point for them. And with this Villarreal side, you've got 2 very, very different styles. I'm intrigued to see how Bayern Munich deal with most teams in the Bundesliga, try and press the opposition, and then Bayern Munich finds so much space and scores so many goals. Against Villarreal, I'm intrigued to see if they can hurt them on the break. You've got someone like Dan Juma, who's been fantastic for them since he moved across from Bournemouth this year. Moreno's got a great goals per minute ratio in the Champions League, the best in the Champions League right now. So I think the weaknesses and the danger here for this tie is underrating this Villarreal side, who are very well drilled, and actually it's a very opposing style to Bayern Munich, but it's one that's worked against the best teams or big teams in Europe. The thing I wonder is, can you do that against the Bayern Munich, who've scored 85 goals and conceded 29 in just 28 games? Hugh, what do you think?
Well, you've got to stick to what you know, to be perfectly honest, and that's what Villarreal know. That is the ethos that Unai Emery has given them, and it has worked for them. Of course, they won the Europa League last year. The only thing that I would say is they have to make it a turgid tie. they'd have to make it pretty boring to go
Stink
through.
the place out, Hugh, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, they would. They don't score a huge number of goals, Villarreal. They've only scored 1 goal in their last 4 games. They lost their last few games as well, so not going into this with great form. But they do stop other teams from scoring a high number of goals. The last time they conceded 3 goals in a match was against Barcelona, and that was at the end of November. They've only conceded 2 goals in a game on a handful of occasions since then. So defensively, they aren't too bad. Again, they will just have to try and shut down the opposition with that low block. I think they will play a 4-4-1-1 like they did in that second leg against Juventus, which essentially adds another midfielder to get behind the ball, and maybe one player who can try and stretch things. If Danjuma plays, it will likely be him.
The other thing that I'm really excited about when it comes to this game is the midfield battle. You've got Parejo and Capoue who've just been there side by side for a few seasons now, and then probably the best double pivot, well, right up there in Europe when you look at Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich. And Joshua Kimmich has been so good for Bayern Munich this year, and I'm just intrigued to see how they engage with that, because I think when you look at it on paper, you think those two will go up against each other. But if they were to sort of go towards them, it would just create so much space for the likes of Sane and Gnabry and Muller and Lewandowski. So I'm intrigued to see how they kind of retain their shape. Every time I look at this game, I keep thinking about the Man United game in the Europa League final and how it was horrible. You used the word yourself, turgid. And it's one where you think these will be key matchups, but there's going to be a little twist. It's going to become a little bit sour, isn't it? I think this game, and that area, if they're able to kind of work their way around that midfield 2 of Villarreal, it's going to be really, really crucial in this game for me. And that's why I think that actually it will be very low scoring, more low scoring than you would ever imagine for a Bayern Munich game, because I think they will make it very, very difficult. But I think Bayern Munich will just sneak through, not down to playing brilliantly, but down to the quality of Lewandowski, the man we were talking about right at the start. Hugh, what do you think in terms of your final prediction for this one?
I think you're absolutely right. Those 2 Villarreal central midfielders, Parejo, Etienne Capoue, in terms of the few occasions, I think Bayern will dominate possession, but their use of the ball is good. Very good vision from the 2 of them. They aren't just there to break up play, of course. And they have very good leadership qualities, and they will be key marshalling their team, trying to keep that shape. I agree with you totally. It could be very, very low scoring. Lewandowski could be the difference. What I would say is Bayern Munich have only kept 2 clean sheets in their last 11 in all competitions. And for a team as good as they are, that probably isn't good enough given the level of opposition, the difference in the level of opposition between them and most of the teams that they encounter domestically. So I think there could be chances for Villarreal in this game. I'd probably say first leg, 1-1 draw.
Hi guys, James Allcott here from ESPN's Football Forecast. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out more, make sure you subscribe to ESPN UK.